Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I am extremely fortunate that I have some incredible and fascinating friends from throughout the world of music, both locally and nationally and internationally. So I've decided to start an interview series where I sit down, virtually of course, with some of my best friends and some of my favorite musicians and talk about their lives and their music. I started this week by interviewing one of my dearest friends on the planet, the renowned Ecuadorian pianist Juan Carlos Escudero, a man that many of you have gotten to see perform here in the United States several times, and unfortunately, many of you missed out on the opportunity to see him perform this March because of canceled concerts from this coronavirus pandemic. We will be bringing him back up to the States to perform up here in Virginia and Washington, D.C., and in Delaware and down in Georgia again. So you all have the opportunity to see him if you've missed out, or to see him again if you're a fan. So please enjoy this conversation with Juan Carlos Escudero. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Conductor's Corner with me, Jeff Dawkin. I'm so excited today to be joined by one of my best friends in the world, and a man many of you have got to see perform several times, and some of you haven't yet, but I will rectify that because I try to bring him as often as I can. So please help me welcome my dear, dear friend, Juan Carlos Escudero. How are you, Juan Carlos?
Hello, nice to meet you all. Thank you for this opportunity. Well, we're living difficult days, but I try to maintain happy. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. And so you're calling in from Guayaquil right now at your house, right?
Yes, I am at my house in Guayaquil, Ecuador.
Yeah.
So things are very difficult here, but as I told you, we're trying to survive.
Good, good. Well, hopefully things will come out of this together and we'll get to perform again soon.
Hopefully,
So
yeah.
I've brought Juan Carlos several times to perform with Sonova and with my choir up in Delaware, Coro Allegro, and we've performed together in South America, and very fortunate to get to perform together. And most recently, as this coronavirus stuff was all hitting, we were in Rome to perform together the Rhapsody in Blue, and literally 2 days before that concert, we had to cancel it. So we are committed to bringing Juan Carlos back to Rome, and we will do that concert again.
You were supposed to come to Ecuador too.
Yeah.
You were supposed to perform with our orchestra here. That Star Wars concert. So we had to cancel it too.
Yeah. So it's crazy times, but we'll figure it out. And I don't know about you, but I'm trying to spend some time actually getting to breathe a little bit and practice my own music because things get so crazy. Have you been practicing the piano at all?
Actually, that's a funny question. I don't have a piano at home. I've never been able to practice at home.
Okay.
So, I have a music school here in Guayaquil. So I got my piano from my house to my school. It's called Sonata. So I don't have a piano at home. So it's been terrible, terrible days. I'm here inside. I'm a pianist. I don't have a piano. I have a keyboard though, but
Okay.
it's not the same.
Yeah.
I've been trying to read some new music, but it's not the same feeling.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. I didn't realize you had moved your piano to the academy.
I had to, yeah.
That's awful. You're going to get back to practicing and your fingers are going to be like, what are we doing? I have a few standard questions and then we'll dive into some specific ones. I've been asking everybody, do you remember when you were a little kid, what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Well, I didn't. I started playing the piano when I was 7 years old. It was a total coincidence. I was a huge fan from Tom and Jerry, this cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, I saw this cartoon in which Tom was like a famous pianist. So he performed a Rhapsody from the composer Liszt. I didn't know it at that time. But, I was so impressed with all this fancy stuff he did when he played. And, he was giving the bow to the audience. And I was very interested in music since then. My dad is a huge fan from classical music. So I was always involved in this musical world.
Yeah.
Well, my dad is a lawyer and my grandpa was a lawyer. So I also thought that I was going to be a lawyer too. So I wasn't sure about it.
Yeah. That's amazing that it was Tom and Jerry. I love that story. I had not heard that before.
Yeah.
So
have you seen this cartoon?
No, I'll have to go find it on YouTube.
I think it won an Oscar for Best Cartoon of the Year.
Okay.
The musical part of this cartoon is very, very good. There's some arrangements, Chopin arrangements, Liszt arrangements for orchestra and piano.
That's
So
amazing.
you have to look for it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to find that and I'll try to post that for everybody. That's awesome. So I know you started playing piano first after your mom had like won a keyboard at a bingo game, which is incredible. When in the process did you realize that you had a talent for music?
Well, it's actually right after she won this keyboard. Bingo in Guayaquil was like a big thing. I don't know, 30 years ago, 25 years ago. So she had a bingo at her job, and she won an electronic keyboard, a little Yamaha keyboard, and she didn't know what to do with it. So I was at school, and she picked me up from school, and she gave me this keyboard, and I didn't know what to do with it either. So I was trying to play some scales, I don't know, some chords, and finally I figured it out, and I began playing some music that I listened from the radio.
Okay.
And my parents were, listen what he's doing. So I think all began with this little keyboard my mom won.
What is your favorite like time period or favorite genre of music?
Well, I have several. I think it depends on my state of mind at that time, on my mood also. But I am very fond of Beethoven's music, especially the late Beethoven, when he carried this classical music and give it to a new romantic era. So I like very much his late sonatas, the 28, 29, 30. uh, Actually, they are my favorite, but that's like the permanent like I have. But of course I like the Russian composers. My favorite is Scriabin, Alexander Scriabin. He's not a very famous one. He was very contemporary with Rachmaninoff, but Rachmaninoff was like the star. Everyone was a fan of Rachmaninoff, and Scriabin was very shy, and he had this very intimate music. So I like very much Scriabin music. So yeah, I have several composers that I'm very fond of.
And I happen to know, just because we're such good friends, you were also a big fan of like classic rock music outside of your classical world. When you're like driving in your car, do you listen to classical music or do you mostly listen to like rock music?
Well, it depends, but I like a lot of rock music. I am totally into progressive rock music. My favorite band is Dream Theater. But Emerson, Lake and Palmer, it's very old music, but it sounds like very new music. Uh, it's I think it's well balanced. If I go out on, I don't know, Friday night, I will listen to, I don't know, fashion music. Something that's very common these days in the radio, or I will listen to 80s classic music.
Yeah.
I like it very much. Well, it depends on my state of mind at that time.
Yeah, that's how I knew that we were going to be friends. When you first picked me up from the airport, the first time I came to Guayaquil, I got in your car and like I didn't know you at all, and the radio turned on and it was Queen, and you started like singing along to Queen, and I was like, I think I'm gonna like this guy because there's so many people in the classical music world that all they listen to is classical music, which is great. I love that, but I was just like,
Yeah.
all right, this is awesome that we're listening to Queen. So within you talked a little bit about Scriabin and Beethoven. Who's your favorite piano composer?
My favorite piano composer is Beethoven.
Okay.
Of course, Liszt. I'm a huge fan of Liszt. I think that Liszt is a great composer. He was not also a great composer for the piano. I believe that his music, his late music especially, uh, gave this gift to music history when he made music to go to a different era too. I think that he's one of the very first impressionists composers with his late piano music.
Yeah.
I know he's very important for me because of that. He lived for, I don't know, 95 years or something like that.
Yeah.
He was very old, and he turned out to be a very spiritual guy at the end of his life. So his late works about spiritual music I don't know, maybe San Francisco de Padua walking on the waves, or St. Francis from Assisi preaching to the birds. I don't know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's very spiritual, but it's also very very, I don't know, very, you can describe it as an image too.
Yeah.
So it's very impressionist for me too. So it's very interesting.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. What is one of your great musical aspirations? What's something you haven't gotten to do that you want to do musically?
Uh, well, I would like to have these experiments with cultural music from each country I visit. You know, one of my favorite stories is one when I played in Qatar.
Mhm.
You know, I was playing, and the Ecuadorian ambassador who went to the rehearsal, he told me, you know, Juan Carlos, is it possible for you to accompany some local artist? He knows about your career and he would love to perform with you. So, you know, it was like the same date of the concert.
Okay.
So well, finally he came. Of course, I wasn't able to say no to the ambassador. And so it was this guy who played like some string guitar looking instrument, like laúd or something. I don't know
Yeah,
what's the
and
name.
oud. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. And you know, he was very humble. You know, he wanted to make some music. And I have to confess, at the beginning I don't want to do stuff like this. You know, I'm very concerned and worried about my recital. But at the end, we had this friendship, and it turned out to be a very good recital, and it awake in me some this desire of making music in anywhere I go. So I would like to know music from, I don't know, from Australia or from China or from whatever,
Yeah.
and try to these experiments with music with local artists. That's one of my dreams.
That's awesome. I love that. How about like a non-musical aspiration? Like what would do you have any other things outside of music that you're like, I've always wanted to go to, Hawaii and surf a 20-foot wave or like something like that?
You know, I've always wanted to go to Egypt
Okay.
to visit the pyramids. It's one of my dreams since I was a child. You know,
Uh,
there was a magazine here in Guayaquil for children, and the first magazine that came out, it was all about the Egyptian pyramids. So I've always been a huge fan from that. And you know, this year I was supposed to go to Cairo to perform the Cairo Symphony.
uh,
Yeah, and you know, I was so happy about it, but you know, because of this virus, it won't be possible this year. But you know, that's one of my dreams, not just go to perform, but go as a tourist.
yeah.
And you know, I think in one of my past lives I was an Egyptian, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I've been there before.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when this is all over and we're allowed to go back out, what do you think the first thing you're going to do after you go and check on your business and stuff? What are you most looking forward to getting back to doing?
uh you know, I would like to go out and visit my friends. You know, some of my friends, you know, Gorky, you know,
Yeah,
David. I would very much like to go and say hi, say hello, to have a beer with them, you know, have a conversation, just to talk about life.
yeah.
uh, you know, there's some aspects of our life that we are missing right now, and we wouldn't be missing it if we wouldn't be locked in here, so in our homes. So I think that we are experimenting a new desire of having our lives back, and that's very interesting. And I just want to have my life back. That's what I really want to do. You know, I miss a lot my ordinary days, you
Yeah.
know, going to my work, going to practice, going to visit my friends, you know,
Yeah.
some stuff that I think that are valuable, and I haven't been ready to realize it yet.
So,
Sure.
do you have any advice for aspiring pianists?
um yeah, you know, I believe that everyone has something to share with the world. You know, there are a lot of musicians, very talented musicians in our world. So I would avoid trying to go to competition with them. You know, I think everyone has something different to offer, and my advice, it would be to find what makes you different from every other artist. You know, I know I know some very good pianists who made their careers just playing, I don't know, Disney music, some arrangements, and they have this Disney music with them in their recitals. They combine some music, classical music with this Disney stuff. Or others are very well known because they play Mozart piano concertos. Others play Prokofiev piano concertos or sonatas. I believe that almost nobody can play everything good. There are special people who play special repertoire, and there are people who play other repertoire that belongs to them. So if you see what the famous pianists or musicians in the world do, they try to focus on special repertoire for them. So that means that they found what they were looking for. They found where they connect with this music, they connect with this repertoire, they connect with this type of recitals. There's a Venezuelan pianist. She's a very good, amazing pianist, but she discovered that she had an amazing talent for making songs about some classical music. She can interpret any music with her own words. And she became very famous because of doing this in every concert. So the type of concert she gives all around the world is that she had a glass of wine with her. She tries to talk to an audience, and she asks anyone, what's your favorite classical music piece? And then she goes and, like a jazz pianist, she invents some melodies.
Cool.
And she does stuff like that. So everyone has a talent, everyone has a special gift, and not just in music but in anything. So I think that you have to find what you're good capable of doing, and try to figure it out how to express yourself with that. Of course, I could say you have to practice a lot, you have to keep going to the stage as often as you can. But I believe that this special part of knowing yourself it's going to make you different.
That's awesome. I love that advice. That's really, really wonderful. Thank you for that. All right, so I end all of these interviews with a bunch of just rapid fire questions, like
Okay.
either or questions. So here we go. Just the first thing that you think of. Chicken or fish?
Chicken.
Mountains or the beach?
The beach.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Cookies or cake?
Cake.
Movies or television?
Movies.
What's your favorite sport?
Soccer.
Who's your favorite rock band?
I would say Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
And what's your favorite food?
Lasagna.
Lasagna. That's awesome. I love that. Juan Carlos, this has been such a pleasure, and I can't wait until we can perform together again soon and vacation together. And for all the audience members who haven't gotten a chance to see you perform yet, the thing that I think is the best about your musical performances are you're the perfect combination of passion and precision. There's so many pianists who play with such passion and are all over the place, but they lack the precision. Or there's people who are just robots and play all the right notes, but there's no heart. And I get distracted when I'm conducting because all I want to do is watch and listen to you play, because you're this perfect combination, just everything that I could want out of a pianist. So I can't wait for everybody to get to hear you perform again.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I feel very honored. This comment coming from you. You're a great musician too, and you're my favorite conductor ever. So I look forward to making music with you again. I hope this will end pretty soon, and we will be able to make music and to be happy again.
Definitely. All right, man. You have a great day. Say hi to your family, and I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
All
Bye.
right.
Thank you. Thank you.